Welcome to the S.A.M experience. Today, Samwise the Beautiful, AJ the Great, and Max the Mediocre will be discussing some math time struggles, their takes on NPC theory, and Max's strange sleep issue. Kick back, buckle up, and let's go on this wild ride. Welcome back to the S.A.M experience. Hopefully everyone is doing the best they possibly can today. We are back with the lovely, lovely people of S.A.M, AJ, and Max. Let's get just cracking on some of AJ's struggles. AJ, I realize you don't know what tripping off these dominoes mean.
Apparently I am tripping off said dominoes.
We can really tell you're tripping off these dominoes. Sam, do you know what tripping off these dominoes means?
I have never in my life heard of tripping off these dominoes.
So there's this like it's not really an obscure Kendrick Lamar song. I'm pretty sure it's like a pretty popular one. But at the end it's like a phone call from like his uncle or his aunt, and she just like mentions like your uncle's tripping off these dominoes, and he's yelling about how he wants Kendrick to bring back the dominoes because they're playing Bones. The famous porch game of dominoes.
And I'm tripping.
And you're tripping off these dominoes, dude.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle to get here today, but we're here. We're on time for the most part.
Well, I mean, we're a half an hour off schedule, but
you know what? You know what? Everything's fine. It's all good. I'm feeling good. Sam's feeling good.
True.
Max is feeling good. Listen, it's all good.
Yeah, maybe it's not the best move to like immediately bring up that someone was late.
Well, no, it's fair. I do deserve to be shamed. My friends just played me for the fool that I was, thinking that they would start on time, and I got roped into a rousing game of Scribblio, which, for those who do not know, it's basically Pictionary on the internet. We've played it a couple times, Max. I'm sure you've been there.
Yeah, I hate that game.
Wow, hot take, man.
I'm
why
like
is that?
really good at the first like round or two, but then it like I try to hide my dyslexia the best as possible. Like I try not to read aloud or try not to do anything that requires like spelling and typing out to like people that isn't like proofread. Like it'll take me a little bit to fire off a text message, and sometimes you can like read through and see that like I spelled something wrong. And Scribble.io literally shows you like when you say something wrong, and then
That's
everyone
true.
like starts like calling you out on it, and you're just like, I feel so bad.
See, but you can't. Number one, you can't be as bad as Evan.
Evan's.
All right. Well, number two. Sorry, just to
Yeah.
say, you end up doing a lot of writing anyway, though. Like I know you personally do a lot of writing stuff.
Yeah.
Do you just like? But it comes out pretty rough, is what you're saying, and you have to get it filtered. And
Oh
edited.
yeah, dude. When I write, I write something down, and then I'll look over it again, and then I'll look over it again, and then maybe I'll even like put it through a text-to-speech program to like listen to it. And I always like conjunctions. I spell something wrong, or I pick the wrong word because I think that's like close to what it is. You know?
Yeah, writing's definitely not easy. I will say that.
The only person I know that can like just easily write something down is Sam.
Yeah, I'm with the night.
Dang, I was really hoping this was gonna be like a humble moment where Sam's just like, nah, dude, you're tripping.
Nah.
You're really tripping off these dominoes, Max. You know I ain't a good writer.
No
I don't know.
cap, dude.
Dude, oh, he's giving out the lingo. AJ, you know what no cap means?
Sure do.
What does no cap mean?
No cap means like you just throw it at the end of a sentence, like to declare the statement as highly true.
There you go.
You're not wrong.
That's the
I mean,
Atlanta
that's,
version.
That's what it is. It's the Atlanta version. There's different
Yeah,
versions
there's a
of no cap.
Chicago version. I don't really know what it means, but it's like a totally different slang.
I got beef with Chicago.
Why
They
do you
do
got
their
beef
own
with
thing out there in
Chicago?
Chicago.
Yeah, number one, Sam's right. They just do their own weird stuff out in Chicago, and I'm not a fan of it. Primarily, though, I mean, I
Uh-oh.
guess the hot dogs are cool, but I take issue with the pizza situation. They have Chicago style deep dish pizza, and as far as I can tell, it's just a monstrosity of like grease and dough and sauce, and it's like completely like exceeded the definition of a pizza as we know it, where it's become its own monster, and they swear by it. And it's like, what are you doing? Why would you do this to pizza? Pizza's already perfect.
I don't know. I kind of like deep dish pizza.
Nice. I got issues, man. I got issues with you.
Sam, did
Are
you
you
ever
from Chicago,
go?
Max?
Nah, I wish I was from Chicago. I've been to Chicago. I had family that used to live in Chicago. I still do have some family that lives in Chicago.
What else is good about Chicago other than the monstrosity
I remember
that they
going to a
just call
museum when
pizza?
I was over there. That was cool. The bean, dude. You ever want to just go
The
touch the bean?
The hell? What does
the
that
bean,
mean?
what is like the
The
world's
Chicago
largest
bean?
bean?
You guys don't know? First the Megabus and now the Chicago bean? You guys have
You're gonna have to
seriously never seen the Chicago bean?
Um, is that big shiny like metallic object
Yeah, the Chicago
that like
bean, dude.
it's highly reflective? And it's just like sitting in the middle of a plaza.
Yeah.
So,
Just full of
what is
dirt.
this?
I think I've seen the pictures.
So Sam, there's like this. It's I don't know if it's like an art, like a piece of art or something. It's like the bull on in New York City. You know, like that bull that's on Wall Street.
Hmm.
It's like that, but the Chicago version, and it's just this like giant silver bean that like people walk up to and touch. And there's probably some sort of story behind it, but it's just a bean, and everybody loves it. It's like the mega
Just a
bus of
bean.
statues.
It's like the megabus of statues. The more you know.
Yeah, like I don't know why you wouldn't like deep dish pizza. Sam, did you ever go to Uno's when that was around?
I went there like I think one time.
And you
Yeah,
didn't
that's a.
fall in love with it?
I did not know.
All right, AJ, here's some lore behind Uno's. Uno's is a franchise out of
Oh,
Chicago.
I know this. There used to be an Uno's by us.
Yeah, and I bet you it shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it shut down. Of course it did. I haven't seen one of those in probably 10 years at least, maybe 15.
Dude, like
They're just
the deep dish pizza there was awesome. Is there any other restaurants that you guys know that just like all of a sudden just all went out of business?
um
Not that I can think of.
used to be a sandwich place called Blimpies.
Blimpies.
They're still around. They're just not as common. I remember they used to be more common back in the day.
CC's
um,
Pizza? I can't find one of
Nah.
those to save my life.
Nah.
Oh,
What was that?
and Golden Corral.
I've never been to a Golden Corral.
I went.
Are they closed down or are they still around?
There's still some around, but they're always so dirty. They're just on a new level of dirty.
Like nasty?
Oh yeah, dude. That's the reason why the one in my state got shut down. It's
Oh,
a
health code
Longhorn
violations?
Steakhouse now.
Oh, hey.
They actually like they didn't go out of business. Like the health inspector shut them down.
Oh,
Yeah, they like were just so gross apparently. And we went by one like when I went hiking the other day. We drove by one that was in a Flying J truck stop. And we went through the whole lore behind the reason why the one in my state shut down. And it was, ugh,
It's just nasty.
yeah, dude. I mean, all food service is nasty, and we're not going to get into this because we talked about it last time. But there's just some really, really vile stuff.
So what are we getting into today, Max?
Oh, I have an issue we can talk about.
A current event?
It's kind of like a current event.
Is it politically charged?
It's, huh.
Is it divisive? Will it drive us apart?
I think it will drive us apart, definitely.
But it will stimulate good conversation.
Yeah, I think it will stimulate good conversation. I've been having these, I call them micro sleeps every night.
micro sleep.
Yeah. And it's been an issue for like a couple months now. And I don't know like what's going wrong in my life to cause it. So what happens is I'll lay down, right? I'm really tired. I'm ready to go to bed. And I'll, like, let's say I fall asleep at like 8:30 because I'm like an old man who eats tapioca pudding. And I'll fall asleep at like 8:30. And then I'll have like this really weird twisted dream where I'm running around in like a basement, but it's actually like the levels of my house, like each of the floors of my house, just put into the basement, and it's dark and there's never any lights. And then there'll be some spooky stuff, and I'll wake up and it'll only be like 8:45. And then I won't be able to go back to sleep for like another half an hour.
Man, it's not good for you, man.
But like, what do you think is causing it?
I don't know, man. What do you do right before you go to bed?
So my like nightly ritual is I'll close everything out, like whatever I'm working on, I'll close out, and then I'll read a little bit of like a textbook. Usually it's like related to like something about D&D, or it's like something like very generic. I'll read a little bit of it, and then I'll lay down on the floor with all the lights off. I'll make sure all my alarms are set. Lay down on the floor for like 10 minutes or so and just decompress and think about the day, and then I'll lay down and go to bed. But I won't look at any screens. So like there's like a 10-minute buffer where I'm not looking at any screens. I'm not doing anything, and then I'll lay down in bed, and then I'll have my micro sleep, wake up, 30 minutes later I'll go to sleep, and I'll have a nightmare that I'm back at school. And that's like my day, like my everyday.
Oh my God. First of all, I do want to say that your regime of not looking at screens is a very healthy habit, as far as I know. I look at my phone way too much when I should be sleeping.
Oh, you can't bring it into the bed.
It's a terrible habit. I know, it's a terrible habit. And it's just...
If you don't have an alarm clock, you got to get yourself like an Alexa or something. And then you can ask it during the night what time it is, and then it'll tell you.
I'm pretty against the idea of having an Alexa. Like, my parents have one, and my sister actually got one for Christmas. She got me one. She's like, here, set it up. And I just kind of like put it in a drawer and have been trying to forget about it since.
Sam's got a fancy one that's like a part of Destiny 2 or something.
Yeah, they got me, I forget what they're called. The little assistant from Destiny 2, though. But that's the speaker for it. You actually need the full-on Alexa, too.
Oh, they beamed you.
Yeah, it was like a gift for Christmas, I think, birthday, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get an Alexa to work it or no?
No. But one day I'm sure an Alexa will make its way to me. When
Sam,
it does,
listen,
dude.
Do you want me to send you this one? I'm not even kidding, dude. I'm not even kidding. You've hooked me up in the past, man. I'll hook you up.
Well, the question is, do I want Amazon in my house?
It's a good question. It's something everybody should consider, but I doubt a lot of people think about.
Since you're like a computer person, Sam, you probably shouldn't have one because I'm pretty sure they're like not very good for your security. Like you shouldn't like hook it up to everything, I guess. But Sam, did you ever hear the story about how we destroyed one of AJ's roommates' Alexas?
How did you manage that?
So AJ and his roommate had like a get together over spring break.
A gathering.
This was like way before. This was like way before the incident that happened in 2019 that carried over into 2020. This was like what was this? This must have been like 3 or 4 years ago.
This is when we were in the apartment, right?
Yeah, this was like that weird little townhouse kind of thing you had going on.
Yeah, okay.
And we all drove up to his city. This was like the first time I'd been in that part of the state I used to live in. And one of our friends got too drunk and asked the Alexa what the best football team was, and didn't get the answer he wanted, and he unplugged it, ran outside, and just chucked it into the marsh.
What?
Yeah,
this is the first I'm hearing of this.
Oh yeah, this was
what?
A wild ride.
Wait.
And then he went and retrieved it, and then your roommate was a little peeved, so
I would
had
imagine
to buy a new one for her.
How did I miss this? Was I also wasted?
There was one
Yeah.
point in the night, AJ, where I was trying
Yeah.
to sleep behind the couch, and you were like, "Turn this music up," and then you and two of our other friends sat on the couch. One of them didn't have their shirt on, which was really upsetting because it was a love seat. Not trying to shame that in any way. I'm just saying it was a weird scenario.
Oh.
And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and you guys are playing weird 70s music at like full
Yeah,
volume.
I remember that.
And then you continued the party at like
You should,
4 in your room.
I
I'm
respect
not
the
even kidding.
dedication.
Max. You should have punched me in the face.
Eventually, I was just like, you guys got to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised worked, but being one of the only ones that were sober there, it definitely made it a lot easier.
Oh, I'm sorry, Max.
Nah, dude, it was awesome. That was a fun weekend.
I hate hearing stories about how poorly I behaved back in the day, dude.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Sam, don't worry,
I
I
mean-
won't tell your story.
I don't have
Listen.
a story.
We'll say that for another day. How do you guys think I can fix this microsleep problem I'm having?
Yeah, that's interesting, man. It seems like you're doing everything right prior to going to bed. Like you're not fixating on a screen. You're not like
I even bought a new
doing
mattress
anything.
and it didn't help.
Yeah. Is that the primary reason you bought a new mattress?
No, I bought a new mattress because I had the same one for like 9 years.
So
Great.
outside of the
Fair point.
micro sleep thing, right? How are you feeling in terms of like your stress levels, dude?
Oh, my stress is always out of the roof. I've been stressed out since I started going to like real university and not community college.
All right, so what you got to do, man? You actually have to increase your time in front of the screen, right?
Okay.
You have to numb your brain so that it's too numb to do anything like micro sleep.
So,
You're
like-
stressing your brain too much, man.
So how do I numb it?
Probably more game. If you have any boys, dude, I would suggest spending more time gaming with them.
But it's no games 2021, Sam.
I know, and that's what's gonna keep this micro sleep problem out of control.
I actually have a reason why I haven't been in playing video games
With the boys.
There is a major project I'm working on that I'm not going
Major
to
project.
disclose, but I'm very close to the finish line.
It's revolutionary, I heard.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's. I'm really hoping that it'll get me out of this funk I'm kind of in. So I won't
Yeah, so
discuss
wait.
too much about the funk I'm in, but I'm really proud of what I've done so far, and I'm probably like 60% done.
Let me ask you something, Max.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. So, I mean, this might be related to your micro sleep issue.
Uh-huh.
Actually, is that even like what doctors have coined it, or is that just a
I
word you've
just call it micro sleep. I don't know.
micro sleep?
Because I'm only going
No,
to
that
sleep, like
works.
I'm only falling asleep for like I'm having these full-fledged like spooky dreams in less than 15 minutes.
Do you dream like every night?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
That's
to
like the
me.
crazy part about being sober, is that you just have dreams all the fucking time.
Now
Oh, we
that's
gotta
funny,
bleep
Max.
that. Oh.
No, that happens. That happens, dude. Listen, but Max, that's funny that you say when you're sober. I mean, you've never, been in it before where you weren't sober for long periods of time. So like,
23 years, baby.
so what I'm saying is, how would you know that? Do you just know from like hearing other people talk about it?
Yeah, like everybody I know who gets plastered all the time, they just don't have dreams.
It's
I think
true.
there's also have other bad habits.
It could
That
also
too.
be a thing.
Poor sleep
I think-
schedule.
Yeah. I think it's more your sleep schedule than anything else, because I'll go through some periods where maybe I drink a little, maybe I don't, but it's always been more connected to my sleep schedule than anything else.
Now, Sam, how often, like how do you sleep in?
Recently, no. Recently, I have not been sleeping in.
Okay, because
Usually, what do you consider sleeping in?
I consider sleeping in like not setting an alarm. Like I set an alarm every day.
I generally wake up around the same time every day, if that's what you mean.
Oh wow. I guess I'm like kind of like on this weird, like, even though like my schedule switch every week because like some weeks I'm working from home, some weeks I'm in the office. Like I'm either waking up at 4 or 6:30 every day. And I'm thinking
Um,
that maybe the micro sleep is because I'm not getting a full 8 every time, but then why would I have these weird dreams?
Yeah, the dreams are very strange. I never really dreamed all that much. Uh, Although you do dream more the more you have like a healthy sleep schedule, I think.
Huh.
so what? Yeah, what's interesting is that because I know from just talking to you that you wake up early
Mhm.
and you go to bed at a consistent time. So like in theory, that should at least put you ahead of everybody else in terms of like because there's we know degenerates who
Yeah.
stay up till like 4 in the morning and sleep till like 2 in the afternoon, stuff like that. And like, I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore, but we've all been there. And of course, my sleep and just the way I felt was awful. Like I always felt like in a funk. Um, so yeah, like Sam said, just fixing your sleep schedule, you know, seems to help me a lot.
Mhm.
So I don't really know why you're having this weird issue. It's kind of bizarre to me that like you have it also seems like it's recurring too.
Yeah, they're like all really have this like interconnecting like one time there was an eldritch horror in it. Like there's always something spooky at the end and there's always a bit that I'm running through like a dark like living complex that's in a basement. And now I used to live in a basement at school, which when I was living back in the trap, that room was not very kind to me. And I'm
I
thinking
also
that
lived in a
maybe that's
basement.
the thought. Like maybe I'm like reliving
So,
that past.
how do you feel about your current sleeping situation, man? Like,
Oh, my
does it
current
remind
room
you of
is
that at all?
awesome. I
Okay.
mean, there's heating in this one sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's
Sometimes
always a
there's air
huge improvement.
conditioning. It's like a win-win. Back at school, like I never had very good living conditions. Like my
Because we're in
first
that
place I lived
cheapo.
at school, uh, they didn't tell us. It was like oil. It was like a house that ran on the heat was a oil system. And our oil company went out of business, and no one told us. So one day I woke up and the house was like 40 degrees, and we had to call around to find a company that was willing to come out and service our tank. And then the house after that, I lived in like a basement that wasn't even like really a room, and it just was cold all the time. It was cold in the winter and it was hot in the summer.
Yeah, I also lived below the surface of the earth for a little while. I lived in a converted garage. It was when it was hot, dude.
Oh,
Like I didn't want to sleep with sheets on or anything. But again, in the winter, like you're below the ground, like it's absolutely an ice box.
it's
And it's okay. So let me sorry to interrupt you there, Max,
no, no,
but
no, go.
I want to because I'm putting together a theory here in my head. Because you mentioned that your stress levels are high, you would
Through
say,
the
right?
roof.
Through the roof, and and you said they've been pretty high since the time you started going to college proper.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, that makes me think that you have some association perhaps with that time when you were living in the rental house. You were, you know, hit with this like overwhelming stress for the first time.
Hmm.
And because maybe you're stuck still with that, it's weighing on your subconscious. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what's your like idea towards dreams? Do you think that they're a reflection of like your subconscious?
I think that
Because
yeah,
that's what
there's
people
probably
say.
like a tie somewhere between like I'll have dreams about like people that I've talked to during that day. Like that's just naturally how it typically goes. Like I'll have dreams about stuff that may have happened or that I may have run into. And there's other times that I just have dreams that are just like far in the left field and have no real relation to what's going on in my life. But I honestly do think your theory is right that it's like all of a sudden you get hit with this big load of stress, and then there's like no way, like your body still thinks you're in that form of stress.
So, and again, it's so funny too because I know you pretty well, and you take care of yourself like better than most people I know. In all honesty, you hit the gym, you keep yourself in good physical shape, you
Mhm.
sleep regularly, you have a job, you have a regular schedule and everything, and that's what everybody tells you is supposed to like set you on the straight and narrow. I don't know.
I kind of
It's
think that
interesting.
it's like my brain is still thinking that it's in college mode, and I've
Yeah.
been out of college for almost a year. And this was my daily schedule when I lived on campus. It was you wake up at 7, you go to the gym, you come home, you go to your 9 cuz all my classes usually started at 9. You do school until like 3 o'clock. You would come home, you would start working on your post school stuff, like the stuff you had to do for like the week, and then you would stay up until 2 or 3, and then you would go to bed, and you would wake up at 7, and that was every day. And then on the weekends you would wake up at 7, work until 2 or 3, and then like recycle. And I think that was like my way of coping. And also I kind of like, I guess I'm a little bit of a control freak sometimes. So like when we had group projects, I would like, come on, like we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this, and then nobody would do anything. So then I would end up just doing the whole project. And I
Yeah.
think that's where like a lot of the stress portion kind of pops up. Because my job now is kind of stressful, but I don't think it's nearly as stressful as at the
School.
university.
Yeah.
'Cause-
But you're also, again, not to dig too deep into your life here, dude, but you've mentioned to me at least that you're not fully satisfied with your job situation.
Oh, yeah,
either.
my job sucks. That's like the
Yeah.
worst part about going through school and then realizing that like maybe this wasn't for you. Like I should have known because like I've had internships like basically since I got out of high school in this field, and there's like so many red flags. Like they just let you drown. Like this is like a common thing I guess for school, or not school, but for this field, is like you give the intern a job, you don't tell the intern how to do it, and then you let them spend 2 weeks doing it, and then you walk by and you just casually mention that it's all wrong, and then
Oh.
you won't help them fix it.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
so
it's
screwed
just
up.
the old jaded folk in that field, right?
Like I don't know if it's different for your guys' fields because we're all kind of in different, like drastically different fields.
Well, I had an internship in the same field as you,
Yeah. Did they
to a degree.
did it happen in that field?
I'll be honest, I loved that internship, but that was probably not the case for everywhere, and that's also because I knew somebody as a result of basically, I knew a fraternity brother who said you should check this place out. Here's where I work.
Frat rule.
They're well, his recommendation actually ended up being pretty great because they knew him, and he was like gave me a good recommendation. I got there, and they treated me right. So like, but I could see how that's not the case everywhere, obviously,
Yeah.
and especially if you're just going in blind. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this.
No, I
guess.
I can see what you're saying. Now, Sam, have you had internships in your field?
Not in my field, no.
No. But I mean, you guys,
We're not
you got
that
a
lucky.
lot of experience, and from what you were telling me about the project that you just did, you're probably gonna get a sweet gig.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I really have never had it down in my mind that I was gonna get something good, especially in this field.
Yeah, it's like a real lucrative field. Big lucrative money. Sam
But I think,
actually is a real
overall-
investor.
People in this field generally tend to be like pretty helpful.
That's good.
Even the people who are kind of dicks are like helpful too.
Begrudgingly helpful.
Because especially in this field, dude, if you're helpful, it's a chance to show off your knowledge, you know.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
like,
a chance, and also like if you're helping somebody who's coming up behind you, because if you don't help them, you're probably gonna like your code's gonna have to work with their code. You know, you really want them to be doing the right thing instead of having to clean up their mess later.
I wish it was
Gotta be
like
on the
that.
same page.
That'd be so sick. Like working as a team and not just trying to like openly sabotage everybody.
Oh,
Every step you have.
nice. I feel bad for you, man.
Nah,
That
you shouldn't
just-
feel bad for me. I wrote this.
Well,
And there's a reason why I even went into this field. It's because a person that me and Sam knew told me I couldn't do it.
that's incredible.
And I did it. And they didn't finish college, so. I
Oh
don't
my
feel
goodness.
bad.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I
Hey,
feel like I'm the top dog, baby. I ain't tripping off these dominoes, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
Actually, it was
That's so
in a class that me and Sam had together that Sam didn't show up for, which was a very typical thing for Sam.
That's
Oh, nothing
not
wrong
true.
with that, dude. Nothing wrong with
I'm
that.
I'm being framed.
Oh, AJ, have I told you
What,
the
dude?
milkshake story?
Maybe we should take a break and then you tell the milkshake story.
Yeah, we'll take an ad read.
Take an ad read.
Okay,
Take a break.
All right, guys. We're gonna get right back to this milkshake story after this ad read from our boy Bob and his new root beer drink. See you guys in a
All right.
minute. Our boy Bobby is back with another beautiful product. Bobby's bubbling non-alcoholic root beer. Do your feet ever hurt after a long day of work? Come on, man. Just throw some Bobbies on it. And remember, please drink responsibly. Welcome back to the S.A.M experience. Hopefully you enjoyed Bobby's ad read. We actually were getting into an argument off air about something that's not related to the milkshake story, and we're going to get back into it. So, AJ, like, when I wake up, I don't open my eyes. I know where everything is in my house, and nothing has changed. I've already
So you
mapped
wake
it out.
up. You wake up, middle of the night, everything's dark.
Wake up in the middle of the night. I got to use the bathroom.
You don't like jolt awake, look around, see the time.
Well, I don't look at my phone ever, and that's my alarm clock. If I need to know the
but you don't-
time, I'll just say, Alexa, what time is it?
Oh, because you got the Alexa in your room.
Yeah, I thought she was going to go off just when I said that, but she didn't. And then it'll tell you the time, so you don't have to look at a light. And then I'll get up. I'll walk over to the door, open the door, because I know where the door handle is. Walk over to the bathroom. I'll shut the door, I'll flick the light on, but I don't open my eyes.
You turn the light on, but you don't open your eyes.
I don't open my eyes, no.
But you turn the light on anyway.
That's just like a force of habit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I'll walk over, use the bathroom, and I'll wash my hands, and then I'll go back to sleep.
I'm speechless.
Yeah, like I map out. If I'm staying at somewhere for long enough, it only takes me like a week or two to like know the route.
I mean, I could probably get around my house with my eyes closed. I just don't. I don't know.
It's just like a nature thing. Like when I was living at school, I used to sneak up on like all the roommates because I just wouldn't turn the lights on. And I
Max,
would
I'm
just
not kidding.
walk around the
That's
house.
one of the most interesting things. That's one of the most interesting facts about you I've ever heard.
Yeah, you just
This
get
is
used
blowing
to
my
it, so
mind.
you just don't turn the lights on. It like the last house I lived in, we had no furniture, so it wasn't hard to like not stub your toe. You just like knew where everything was.
Anyway, Max, we before we got off on that tangent, you
That-
said something about the milkshake.
Oh, the milkshake story. Okay, so there needs to be a correction on talking about me and Sam's schooling. I keep on referring to it as community college, but it really wasn't. It was a university-sanctioned program that took place at a community college. So, like, uni professors came down and taught all the classes, but you would only be able to finish, like, your Englishes and your maths. You couldn't do, like,
gen
anything
ed stuff.
specific.
But you got the credit.
Yeah, you got credits, yeah.
Yeah, you got like the university credit for it, but it was just,
You got official.
You couldn't do all the main classes for your major.
Yeah, like,
So what?
you didn't
No,
have to
so-
apply
yeah.
to get into the university. You just immediately got into the university after you finished your associates.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Um,
That's like a really good idea, actually.
and on paper, yes, but like
Hey.
the issue is they don't give you any of your major requirement classes
And not
unless
only
you're
Yeah.
that,
like,
dude, but the gen eds that they had there, they didn't even have a lot of like gen eds to
yeah, they're
cover.
very sparse because nobody wanted to
Like,
teach down where we were at.
Mm.
But I don't know if Sam fell for the trap or not. How our semesters were broken up was there was a fall semester, a winter semester, a spring semester, and 2 summer semesters.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah,
That's where I went. Yeah.
you didn't need to take a winter or the 2 summers. You could just take the fall and the winter or fall and the spring, and you would be good.
Yeah, I rarely ever took winter classes. Only when I was like switching my major and I had to like play catch up.
But the issue was like the advisors weren't very good. I don't know if Sam had a good advisor. I never
I
really had
did
a good
not.
advisor. So you ended up getting like you had to do a winter semester to get your 60 credits. And my first year I took a winter class and Sam was in it as well. So it was like perfect. It was just me and Sam just chilling, posted up. And we took the hardest class I have ever taken, AJ. The hardest
And
class.
and what was that class called?
Sam,
Max?
why don't you tell him what this class is called?
It was I don't even remember what the actual name was. It was some
He's
kind of
blocking it out.
It was film appreciation.
You're kidding me.
that
No.
probably sounds about right.
It was an English class where you had to buy a DVD that had it was like 6 or 7 short movies, and it met Monday, Wednesday for 4 hours. The first 2 hours you talked about what you watched in the short film. That was also the homework you had to do. And then the next 2 hours you watched a movie. And then that was it. And then you would go home and like write a paper about the movie. So you had like a couple definitions about like how a movie is shot. And then you would write a small little paragraph about like, oh, this short film is about S.A.M. because there was a short film about S.A.M. And then you would go in the next week or the next day and you would watch a movie and then you would write a paper about the movie you watched.
And this was difficult.
Oh, no, it was extremely easy. I'm just pulling
Yeah.
your leg on how it was difficult.
Max, how could this happen again?
Oh, dude, I took so
You-
many
you-
appreciation classes because they were just so, like, stupidly easy but fun. Like, I took
I
a
had
lot
a,
of
uh,
art history classes. I took a lot of, like, music.
Did you gain an appreciation for
With a
art?
Dude, art history is awesome. I would recommend
was it actually
any-
an easy class?
Oh, it was super easy, and I'll tell you guys about that in a minute. But going back to the milkshake story, because we have to finish the milkshake story. So
Are we gonna destroy Sam today?
I think Sam can really show that he is the right one in this scenario. So our
Yeah.
teacher she was interesting. She wore the same thing every day, and it was always a black turtleneck and blue pants. And actually, I had a lot of teachers that wore turtlenecks, which were kind of creepy. But she would come in. Our
Professors
class
are
started at
always
like
weird.
9:30, and she would start the day, and we would get into it, yada yada yada. Well, one day it's about to be 9:30. Sam's not there, and me and Sam sit in the second row of this class. It seats at least 50 people, wouldn't you say, Sam? 50, 60
Yeah, it was a
people.
pretty big class.
And 9:30 rolls around. I text Sam. I'm like, "Yo, where you at? Where you at?" And he's like, "I'm coming. I'm coming." I'm like, "Dude, he's late." So she starts the lecture. Sam strolls in. Gotta be 5-10 minutes late. Just slurping on a Chick-fil-A milkshake.
Oh, lovely.
No books, nothing. He just sits down. Chick-fil-A milkshake. He is slurping in the middle of the lecture. Rolls up, sits down next
With
to
confidence.
me, slurping. The teacher gives him a dirty look. She continues. A kid walks in right after him, like a minute after him, and she just destroys this kid. She starts yelling about how, like, if you're going to be late, don't even show up at all. You should just drop this class. Sam doesn't even flinch. Dude is hard as a rock, still slurping. And I'm like, this is a small milkshake. How are you still going? And it's
It was a good
9 in the
milkshake.
morning. Where did you even... Does Chick-fil-A even serve milkshakes this early? But
Usually the milkshake machine would be like broken down by then, but
I was shocked. Sam just had this nerve of steel to do that, and I couldn't... I didn't even have the nerve to, like, have my phone on ring.
Dude, everybody had those professors that just want. Number one, they thought the world revolved around them as soon as the as soon as the class started. So
Yeah.
like 9:30 hits, and like God forbid, you like slipped on ice on your way in or something like that. I don't know. I mean, I get it on like one thing, like you're paying for this class, the professor wants undivided attention, but like at the same time, you don't have to destroy the poor kid like that.
I have a really bad professor story we can get into in a little bit, but Sam, I want to see your take on this whole milkshake story.
all right. First and foremost, you got it completely wrong. All right, let me tell you guys how it really went down. I walked in, a couple minutes late, still within a reasonable time frame. Teacher did not give me a dirty look. This was actually a pretty good teacher. All right, she was pretty cool. She was pretty cool, and she didn't give me a dirty look, and I sat down. A couple kids walk in even later than me, and at this point, these kids have crossed the threshold, right? Like, there's a threshold in which you can be reasonably late to class without causing disruption. A threshold in which, all right, maybe you were running a little late that day, and they passed that threshold and they were punished for it. And there was two of them who walked in after me. They walked in at the same time together, so clearly they were goofing off, all right?
Were they known scrubs?
Probably, honestly. I mean, it was like the first couple of days of class. That might have been the first day of class, actually, was it?
No, it
Nah, it
must have
wasn't
been
the
like
first day.
the third or fourth day, because I think we watched Murder Ball that day.
Oh yeah. We had that class multiple times a week, didn't we? I totally
Yeah,
forgot
we
about,
had
like,
Monday,
the morning
Wednesday
session
for
and
that
all
class.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that was like the Monday of week 2.
Yeah, I know it was pretty early on in the class. Oof.
Dude, taking classes with Sam was so fun. Oh, I missed that.
Oh, taking classes with Max so aggravating. This guy was always getting on my nerves.
Yeah, because I would just send you my homework.
That's not what happened. I did my own homework sort of.
Sam, we took a class together where we turned in identical homeworks. Where, okay, maybe you elaborated a little bit more on my idea, but you got a higher grade than I did.
You have to outsource your work, man.
You see, AJ, we took this class. This was actually the same class where somebody told me I couldn't finish my degree.
You knew this guy who said that to you?
Oh,
or was
yeah,
he just
I knew
a rando?
this guy.
Okay.
Um,
So he was a character in your life.
He was a character in my life. And almost lived with the guy, too. Wild. But
Interesting.
he ended up... We had this class together. Sam showed up maybe once in a blue moon. It was once a week, 3 hours at night. And
Film class?
What's up?
Film
No.
class?
No, this was a different class.
Okay, because my freshman year, I had a film class where we just watched old Russian movies, and it was at night. It was from 7 to 10.
Oof.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And you
anyway,
watched
go on.
Russian movies?
Yeah, we watched old Russian movies, not propaganda films, just regular old movies. It was actually really interesting. I had no idea the Russians had such interesting films. Anyway, moving on.
AJ just thought they had vodka and potatoes.
Well, that was a central theme in several of the films. But again, it's the Russian way.
Yeah, but Sam would just hit me up and be like, yo, slide through. I don't have the book. And I already
All right.
typed out my homework, and I'd be like, here, I'm going to just send you my homework because I've already typed up the questions. Because you had to type up the questions from the book. And then mysteriously, it would be an addition onto what I had already written. And then Sam would just swoop in and get an A every time. Didn't help me
All right.
at all.
So what actually happened? You guys don't know this about me, but I've been in and out of the IT world in the past. I used to do IT work for school for a little bit.
Mhm.
Back when I was in high school, I would go to like regular high school for half the day, and the other half of the day I would help out in the IT department. And at that point, I realized I hated IT. I'm never doing it straight. Like, well, not that I hate IT. I did not like help desk work. All right, did not want to do that ever again.
Well,
So
because
why did you take computer class?
Computer science is way different from like regular help desk. It's totally two different fields basically.
The reason why we're bringing this up, AJ, is because the class was like Microsoft Word for Dummies, basically.
It was like computer basics, man.
no, I took
With
one
like
of those
some
classes.
networking tossed in there for some reason. But the point
That's-
is, bro, all stuff I had already knew.
And the weird
So,
part was the person who told me like I couldn't do it probably also already knew that, but he still showed up.
which is incredible.
It's so interesting, dude. The guy. So, again, this character was somebody you knew
Yeah.
who told you there's just no way you're gonna finish this current degree. Get wrecked.
Yeah. The dude was
Scrub.
like is actually just an amazing guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
so-
see. Here's me picturing him as like just some guy who's out to get you for no other reason.
No, the dude is just an amazing guy. Really, really stand-up guy. Well, kind of. There's other stories we can get into of where he didn't really screw me over, but it's a story for another day.
Well-
All I'm saying is the guy is awesome, but in passing, he asked me what my major was, and I said I'm a blank major, and he said that's way too hard. You can't do it. You should just drop it. And then
That's
I
so
said,
interesting.
in my head, I was like, I'm going to do this. And I did it, and now I hate my job.
I mean, yeah.
But what are you going to do? I mean,
Well, that is the question, man. You, what are you gonna do?
I'm going to try to look for another job.
I respect
Like,
that.
still in the same field. I mean, my field's very, has a lot of different avenues I can go down, and I'm going to try to go down.
Find
one
a
of
new
those
firm,
avenues.
right?
What's up?
Find a new firm to work at.
Yeah.
Get
yeah.
some new faces.
I want to
people
work
who
for the
aren't-
state. I think that would be really fun.
Yo.
But going back to having classes with Sam, Sam wrestled me in the hallway one time.
It's on brand.
Very, very on brand. You want to know
Was
why?
What's
Was
that
it
supposed to
oversight?
be?
Was it just like friendly? Like you guys are young, full of energy. You just want to like prove who's tougher?
No,
No.
not at all. So we had a 3-hour Friday class for philosophy. By the way,
Yo, that's deep.
everybody who did this community college program had Monday, Wednesday classes and Thursday, Friday. Or Tuesday, Thursday, not Thursday, Friday. So they typically had Friday off. But we were like, we're going to take a Friday class and it's going to be great. Because we're only going to need to take this Friday class. So Friday rolls around. It's 3 hours. It's from 12 to 3. Horrible time slot. But we show up. We have this philosophy professor who I call Dr. Kim Possible. He wore a black turtleneck and green pants every day. Sometimes he had a variation.
Yo, Max.
Sometimes he didn't. Sam, how many classes did you take with Dr. Kim
Uh-oh.
Possible?
I think 2 total, including that one.
Yeah, so it was all about like philosophy, and he had some very weird teaching styles. Like I remember one time I walked in and I was the only one in class. Like class had already started, and he was teaching to an empty class. Really, really weird dude. But he had a schedule where it would be, you had your exam for a third or half the class, and then you would take a 10-minute break, and then you would go right into the rest of the class. Now, there was 8 people in total in this class, and nobody liked Dr. Kim Possible. Every exam, there was 3 exams. The first 2, everybody left but me after the first exam. Like, so you would have the exam, and then everybody would leave their stuff out in the hallway, and then they would run and grab it and leave. Including our S in the S.A.M experience. He would get up and take his stuff and leave.
Just jet out of
Just
there.
jet out of there, right? Last exam rolls around. I said, I'm going to do that. I'm not staying here. So rolls around. It's our last real like in class exam. I'm the only one leaving out of the 8 people. Sam starts calling me a Fruit Loop and trying to push me back. And I'm
Because
like,
look,
Sam, I'm just leaving. I'm not doing this.
y'all gotta understand. I'm trying to help this guy be a good student, right? He's picking up bad habits. He's being influenced by the bad people around him. And I was trying to get him back into class and keep him in a good educational state of mind. All right.
Sam, I just couldn't do it, dude.
And he was actually like offended that I was trying to keep him in the classroom. He was visibly offended that I wanted him to stay and better his education, which I to this day I don't understand why he was like that.
There's a test going on at this time, correct?
So we had just
Yeah.
finished the test. So we
Uh,
finished the test, and then we had a little bit of a break,
Yeah.
and then we were going to go back in for the rest of the lecture.
Okay.
And this is like an important lecture, like information we're gonna need to know. This is like the last like regular test, I think, but we still have the finals after that, right? Like you have to know what's going on.
Sam, I'm about to destroy
Right.
your whole world. That class
so-
was not important whatsoever.
Okay,
This is
philosophy. It's philosophy, man. And it
Yeah,
helps you
open your
understand
mind.
yourself. It helps you understand the world around you.
He's not wrong.
And more importantly, it's a grade on your transcript.
Okay. Urbanus, really big NPC theory guy. Major NPC theory guy.
So before we get to NPC theory, right? Let me point out he addressed him by last name Urbanus. He remembered the name
we
to
weren't
this
supposed
day.
to say that.
To this day, there's 1,000 different Urbanuses. They'll never know this one.
Dude, I know.
And-
I remember all my teachers' names.
I don't remember the teachers in my
Wait,
classes right now.
The teacher's name was Urbanus.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was like a philosopher.
Wait,
like
it could
the
be.
great
Yeah.
philosopher Urbanus, who came up with the theory of whatever the heck they came up with.
He
I don't know.
He pioneered NPC theory, AJ. He was the main
So,
character in this anime, and I was just there. This dude tortured me, basically.
The Lord Urbanus. Got it.
Dude, shout out to Lord Urbanus. Lord Urbanus failed one of our boys, and it really screwed his whole like GPA up.
We've all been there.
I'm not gonna say who he failed, but he failed
That's
one of our
fine.
boys.
I'll
did he?
power through.
See, that's why I was trying to keep you in the class, man.
Sam, you did not want to be there.
I did not want to be there, but sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do.
Then what happened to the first 2 times?
The first 2 times was I was younger then, and I learned by the third time.
He matured.
And more importantly, it's all about securing the bag and securing the grade. In this case, the bag is the grade, or the grade is the bag.
I was doing pretty good in that class. I think I only got like B's on everything. I remember one. Actually, no. I think I failed the first exam. That class was just really hard for no reason. But going back to NPC theory, Sam, what is your thoughts on NPC theory? Because me and AJ have talked about NPC theory like to extents.
Have we?
Yeah.
Wait, brush everybody up. Sorry
So-
to interrupt you here, Sam. But Max, give the people a briefing.
My NPC theory is that like people think that they're the main character in life, and they think everybody else is just an NPC, like a non-player character that's like just there to amuse them.
Yeah.
So they like will yell at waitresses. They'll like make a fuss at the doctor's office. They'll do all this stuff. And Dr. Urbanus was the king of NPC theory. Can we blurt his name out, AJ?
I will. I will
Okay.
do that.
Yeah, because I feel like
It's
we
a
probably
funny-
shouldn't
it's
be
a funny
talking
meme.
so highly of this man.
Bro,
But he
all
was a
right.
trust fund kid. He told us this all.
The professor was.
The professor was, yeah. His professor came from money, and he was just teaching at community college for fun because he thought that this was like the gift to humanity, and he would like get into fights with students to talk about like whatever this philosopher was dealing with, and then you would ask him like, "What do you believe in?" And he would be like, "I don't believe in any of this stuff."
What?
Yeah, he was a wild cat.
So he's up here lecturing you about X, Y, and Z, and he's like, by the way,
All right.
I don't even believe it.
So Now it's being taken out of context. All right, Max is just upset that Professor Urbanus made him sit through that. The good professor made him sit through so many different lectures. All right, and he's upset at his style too, because he was a very stylish professor with the sweaters. So,
He dressed like Kim Possible.
and my case in point, or are you trying to
It's
say
good look.
Impossible wasn't stylish?
It is a good look.
I
It
guess
is, and it was for him too. But
I think
moving
it's better
on, right?
Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. Continue,
So
Sam.
the professor, he would get into debates with students, but these debates were designed to expand their knowledge. It was less about debating and more about getting the student to elaborate, to defend themselves. And there were some people that just wouldn't. They would kind of crumple instead of like trying to really think and expand on their argument. Now, another thing with the professor, when he said he didn't believe anything, it was more that he didn't believe. He didn't want us to be influenced by his beliefs, or not even that we didn't want us to be influenced by his beliefs, but he didn't want us to think his beliefs were the belief to hold above other beliefs that were being taught in the class. Like in the course of a philosophy class, you will hear lots of competing theories, lots of competing, ideas. They can't always be reconciled together.
So
And
he
in-
tried to stay objective.
Yeah, so he tried to keep himself objective and apart, although he would challenge you if you brought your own ideas to the table. So,
So Sam,
this
why
brings
did
us
he,
back.
like literally poop on me every day?
because you deserved it, probably, man.
So I'm the only kid that showed up to that freaking class, and he would literally poop on me every day. This was one of my experiences, AJ. Right? So he asked me. He goes, Max, what do you think about Blank's theory? And then I would be like, Professor, I didn't read the book. Tell me what Blank's theory is. And then he would tell me what Blank's theory is, and he was like, I'm like, that's a cool theory. I understand what he's saying, but I don't believe in it. And then he would argue with me for like 30 minutes about how I should believe in it. And then I finally crack and say, okay, I believe in it. And he would be like, good. And then I'd say, do you believe in it? And he'd be like, no, I don't believe in any of this garbage.
So you had the I'm just here so I don't get fined, keep my head down type approach to this class.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I did not realize philosophy would be as hard as it was.
Interesting.
Did you ever take a philosophy class, AJ?
I personally did not. My curriculum never took me down that road. However, I did take some interesting, like, not general, whatever they called. I guess just like those random subject classes you just end up in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took one on ancient Greece. That was great. The professor was awesome. I took one on the Russian film one. So yeah, but I also took a logic class, but that class I didn't know anything about it going in. I just thought it'd be cool. And the class like destroyed me.
That's
There's
a
like all these like
philosophy
weird.
class.
Well, yeah, I guess it does qualify as that. And there's like all these like weird philosophical angles to approaching logic problems, and like there's like all these like different postulates and axioms you could have about stuff.
Mhm.
And like I had no idea. The problem is that it wasn't interesting. The problem is that I didn't have like the baseline knowledge for it, and I never bothered to learn it. So I was just so lost in this class. Yeah, and the professor also sucked. So, and this is what happens, man. When you have a professor that sucks, you're so demotivated from learning and engaging with it.
Like
Oh,
Dr.
yeah.
Kim Possible.
Actually,
Not
my
true.
professor was also Dr. Kim for this logic class. That was his name, Dr.
Oh,
Kim. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be like
That's
that.
wild.
I say a lot of those math classes, man. I don't think aside from all right. So my college experience, I had to take a when we came into our program, right? You had to do like a pre-test to decide which math class you would get placed in, no matter what.
Oh, the
I think at
placements,
most
yeah.
programs you got to do that, right?
Yeah.
So I scored high enough to get placed into like a calculus class, and then they put me in pre-calc anyway. Like I scored high enough by like a couple points. Like I was clearly in the calculus class, but I'm glad they put me in the pre-calc class because I was not as strong in the fundamentals as I should have been at that point, and I just didn't know, and my scores didn't reflect it. Now that being said, my pre-calc teacher absolutely the best math teacher I have ever had, and every teacher after that has failed me by orders of magnitude.
Wow.
I and once you have a bad math teacher, man, teaching yourself math is incredibly
So
it's a
hard.
journey.
It is.
You guys,
Sam, I feel your
how have
pain.
your math teacher experiences been?
Oh my God.
Because I don't think
So,
I've heard of people really having good math teachers. Like it's just not a
No.
thing that happens.
dude. All right. So, I was the same major as Max for a while, right? You know, there's a lot of prereqs in the math field.
There's so many.
Correct, Max? Would you agree with that?
I've taken 6 calculus classes.
That's what I'm saying. You take pre-calc, you can take calc 1, you take calc 2, you take like linear, you take like differential equations, stuff like that.
Did you take analytical geometry?
I did not.
That is the wackest
Is
class
that
I've ever
is that
taken.
like calc 3 or is that separate?
So that was like a mix of our calcs. Like our calcs were like analytical geometry 1, 2, 3, and then it was differential equations 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Diffie-Qs, my God.
Yeah, don't give me.
Yeah,
a
that
start on
was-
diffie
that-
keys.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, and it was just always such a like, it was like, yeah, Sam. It was always just this like revolving door of like adjuncts and professors who like knew they were smarter than the kids and like thought they were clever when like we're like stupid freshmen who were like, I just don't understand this, and they're just like, sucks for you. Like, you know what I mean? I got that feeling about some of the, like the random professors who were just like, I don't know. I really don't know.
What
At
is
least a
it-
lot of them. What's up?
What is it with math teachers and just being horrible?
You got to be a certain type of person.
Because the
Yeah,
thing
I
is,
think-
in order to like persist through that many math classes to where you're allowed to be a professor and teach other people, you have to be interested in the theory behind math, and only like
Yep.
strange human beings,
Yep.
like they're from a different evolutionary path, man. I don't know.
No, you're absolutely right. I know exactly what you're talking about. I knew a few math majors in my time, and they're just like on a different plane of reality. They like love you, like because you've all taken pretty mid-high level math classes. You get in there, you have like a little bit of theory and then a lot of application, right?
I wish.
The maniacs who were like, "Oh, I love the theories behind it. I love the way." Like, I'm like, no, like I just need to learn how to apply this equation like to my work. And they're like, "Oh no, dude, you got to think about these like postulates and like." And you remember like all those proofs you had to write out and stuff like that. They were like, "Oh my god, I love this." I was like, "Why?"
Proofs are the dumbest thing I have
Well, that's what I'm
ever
saying.
witnessed. Ever.
That's what it is though. But there were these. You have to be a certain kind of person to look at mathematical proofs and be like, "This is just
Yeah.
it.
Like this is my
it.
future. Like
I just get this."
Anytime a teacher was like, "You need to prove this," I would just write no. I wish, dude. I really wish I did.
No, you had to grind through those steps, man. But you see what I'm saying is, it got to the point where you didn't really click with it. You didn't understand the proofs. You understood how to copy the proof from the way the professor wrote it down.
Yeah.
And memorize it so you could write it down on the exam.
you understood
didn't
these
really-
symbols go in this order, and like I might get 75% credit. Like
Yeah. Oh my.
I am about to just destroy the proof right now. So, I took calculus 6. Right?
Holy crap.
Which is differential equations 3. Which was so complex you couldn't do it by hand. You had to do it all by
MATLAB.
MATLAB.
Or Wolfram or something.
yeah, it was MATLAB. MATLAB and something else, right? We took a small coding class, which would have been our freshman year, and we took calculus 6 our junior year, right? So the MATLAB, the coding class was supposed to teach you MATLAB, but it never did. And then fast forward to calculus 6. I'm taking it as a 5th year senior, right? This professor, had 9 people in his class. 3 dropped the first class. I didn't
Yeah.
even think he was a professor. He was this guy. He was from a foreign land. Great dude. Excellent dude. I wish I like still had his contact because I would like talk to him about other stuff besides math because he was
This is interesting.
so interesting. But he would wear a Nike T-shirt and shorts that had an animal embroidered all over them, like a cartoon version of a dog all over him, every day, no matter what the weather was, every day, right?
Good looks.
He would write his code on the board. Everybody would copy his code, and then everybody would memorize how to write his code, and then you would have this quiz where you would have to make the code. And it was the most awkward thing. Every day he would ask us to do the proof, and everybody would just like write like x equals this variable, y equals this variable, and then turn and look and wait for him to explain the rest of the code.
Oh my god.
Sam, you know how hard coding is, and you know how like the lines can get really difficult.
Yep.
We had to memorize like hundreds of lines of code.
No.
For MATLAB.
For MATLAB,
Because you had to learn it was a whole nother language that you had to learn just to use MATLAB. I had
It's just like
some
out of
experience.
nowhere.
Yeah, and you're sitting there, you're like, okay, I understand like how you can use MATLAB to like whatever you need to do, like represent some like 3D equation type beat, okay? But then they're like, okay, MATLAB can't do it for you. You also have to learn the code behind it.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, oh god.
I always just wanted to raise my hand and go, this is in Excel. I can do this in Excel. That's the weird part about being in the field, right? Is you learn all this math garbage. You spend all these years learning math, and you just do all your math in Excel.
It hurts to think about all these like just pages, because the differential equation class I took was just like page long, like just writing out entire equations and solutions and everything. And like the tests in that class were like, he would give you like 3 pages with one equation at the top, and like you'd write like the whole page would be one answer.
Yep.
And it was incredible. Like I would say in the entire semester long course, we probably did maybe like 50 equations tops. But that was it, because it took like a whole class to get through like one equation sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It just blows my mind.
Chegg University, baby.
That too.
Dude,
Starting to crack down on Chegg though.
Are they?
Yeah, it's starting to get harder and harder. My teacher was like, we started partnering with Chegg to so a lot of people use Chegg to like get programs on, and they'll straight up turn in like programs copy pasted from Chegg, which is not a good idea. It's so easy to tell when you're doing that.
Yeah, like change up a little bit, bud.
Well, even if you like change up some stuff, if you don't understand what you're changing up, it'll just be the same program with some stuff like rewritten differently, and it's still easy to tell that you stole it. I don't know. It's weird because at the point that I'm at in programming, like if you're getting your answers from Chegg, like you can't even get your answers from Chegg at this point. But my point is, colleges are starting to team up with
CU?
With those services.
Yeah.
Dude, I wonder if we get CU to sponsor this program.
Dude, it's gonna be so weird to see how all that stuff goes in the future, because like again, like we all experienced it like in our day, where like you could just check stuff and like get the answers
Oh yeah.
that you needed for stuff. But like my school, like right when I was getting done, like kids were getting like hit with academic dishonesty stuff like a lot. Like my friend who graduated before me, he's in the same field as you, Max.
Oh.
Him and a bunch of other kids got busted. They all copied some work, like on a big report, and the school, and they were right. It was right before graduation, and the school was like, we don't know what to do. Like either we don't have half the department graduate, or or we just let it slide and like give them a slap on the wrist, and that's what ended up happening. But yeah, like the school, it was like a huge scandal.
If everyone cheats,
that's what I'm saying. It was like
really punish us all.
It was like an entire specialization in that one department. Like every single kid had done that and the school, because I guess they were getting pressure from various places. They're like, we really have to come down hard on academic dishonesty. They discovered it, and like I just remember,
They're just like, why did we look into this?
yeah, well, the school must have been kicking themselves because again, this department is like, that you want to see those kids graduate. It's good for the school. You want to have these kids out in the world, saying good things about the college. But now here they are, and they've got to have like meetings with like the president of the school and the investors and stuff. Oh my god, dude, it was a scandal, and it's going to be so interesting to see where it goes with colleges because number one, everyone has access to this stuff, and once like kids realize that they all had access to it, it was bad.
I know so many people that, like, of course, I'm not gonna lie. I use the CU. I've studied the CU. I know what happens in the CU.
There is a right way to use it.
Yeah,
I will say.
Yeah,
you have
especially
to
in a lot of like, all right, dude, some math classes, right? Especially with like the how long a math class might only have like one teacher, like the person teaching the class might be the only grader, for example. You might not know if you're doing a problem right until like 2-3 weeks after you've done the problem.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's how it was for a lot of my math class, especially because a lot of my math teachers just straight up didn't care, just like didn't speak the language or something, dude. You might not get feedback on a math problem that you had until the time of the test, and you just don't know if you're doing it right or not. So when in my math classes, I definitely use Chegg to check my work. Have I used Chegg to cheat also?
No, because we are good apples, and we're not gonna say that on this.
Yeah. That being said, there was one time where I was sorely tempted to use Chegg to cheat in my programming class. I'd spent hours and hours and hours on this program, dude, and I couldn't get it done right. And so we had to turn it in our like program on like paper, I think, for some reason. I don't know why.
Oh
So
yeah.
I checked it up, dude. I turned in the program on my paper, or I brought it to school, and I was gonna turn it in. And as the teacher walked by, and I was gonna hand him my paper, I decided not to do it. And my seatmate, right, the guy who sits next to me, hands me his paper, and I take the paper, I look at it, literally the exact same paper I was about to turn in.
That was
Boy, I turned in his paper. I patted myself on the back, and that got dropped the class a few weeks later.
Holy smokes!
Ooh, that was
Dodged a bullet.
Dude, you dodged a bullet there, Sam.
yeah. And it was at that point I realized I really needed to knuckle down and actually just learn the content, and I did.
Yeah, I think like using the CU is fine, as long as you like. First, you should try it on your own, and then you should break down what they're doing, like understand the steps they're doing, and then like close it completely, and then try to replicate it.
Like I think as an aid, it definitely has a lot of value because like what we were saying about the math thing, dude. Up until I started looking at some of the math problems on it, I would just not know. Like you would spend hours and hours working on math problems and then just not know if anything you're doing is right or wrong.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There's been math classes where I immediately flushed all that info as soon as I left.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I was getting into this bad habit, especially in differential equations, where I was flushing the info immediately after the exam. It's like, this is dumb. Dude. Like, we had this professor, I'm not going to say his name. Everybody dropped his class besides me and like 3 other people. This is a very common occurrence in most of my college classes. And I took it with 3 of my roommates, that were 3 of my future roommates. And we struggled, right? This guy would give you 5 questions. You had a week to do them, and we would have the whole class come to a study room in the library just to decode how to do these questions because he just came up with them on the fly. One of the exams starts with a guy walks into the room and shoots another guy. You show up at an X time later. What's the temperature of this guy's body? And I could not do it to save my life. And I got shamed for it. And it felt so bad. But you know what I did after I left that class? Immediately dumped every single bit of information he taught me.
it's so hard to retain the information when like again, especially in those higher level math classes when it just you get the sense and you just get like so disillusioned from the work you're
Hmm.
doing and you're like this just doesn't even apply to me anymore. How is this like relevant at all?
Yeah, like
So you're like chugging through these equations and you're like I don't even know, man.
of course, like in my specialty classes, I could probably do like any of those problems. I have a plaque that shows I can do any of those problems. That's not my degree. But
There it
if
is.
you made me do differential equations and they're like, hey, if you can't solve this differential equation, we're going to shoot you in the head, I'm going to be a dead boy. It's just not going to happen. And that's the scummy part about university. You know, this is the second week in a row we've talked about university.
Cuz dude, we're still
It's a
dealing
hot
with the
topic.
we're dealing with the effects of it still.
Hmm.
How long do you think we're going to deal with it? Like, when I went on my hike, I'm talking to one of my buddies who graduated the same year I did, right? He's been working this basically the same amount of time I have. I think he's been working a month longer. And I'm like, hey, like how you doing? Like, are you still like dreaming about like being late every day for school, like every night? And he's like, nah, I wake up so happy because I don't have to do it ever again. And it just blows my mind that like he could just like flush all that stress away, just like instantly.
I'm still working through it, man.
Yeah, I think I could probably
Screwed
pull
me
it
up.
off. I'm very good at putting things behind me to the point where I put things behind me that probably should have put behind me. Uh,
Like
I
what?
Well,
mean,
no. I
for
mean,
example, when you're learning something in math class, as we just discussed.
Info
in
flush.
and out. In and out, baby.
In and out. In one ear, regurgitate for exam, out the other.
Exactly.
I think
You
that's
know,
what's
Sam.
like really flawed about our education system as a whole.
Ooh.
Oh
Ooh,
yeah,
Matt's
it's
getting
all
deep.
about memorization, and then the moment you memorize it, you can just get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no incentive to retain it.
And
Info?
yeah,
No.
especially if it has nothing to do with your area. Like even the
Hmm.
classes where it's not about memorization, right? Like a lot of the upper level math classes, you actually kind of got to know how to apply it. You're kind of just conditioned to just memorize it and dump it. And when you have the workload that you have to deal with, there's really not a whole lot of benefit to going out of your way to memorize it, unless you're going to be taking future math classes like that.
Yeah. Do you think you could, like, if you went back, do you think you could be a math major?
Be a
No.
math major? No. Would I do a lot better in my classes? Oh, easily.
Yeah, I would too.
I
But
think if I did it again, I don't think I could do better in my classes. I think I did
Think
so well on the first try, not to toot my own horn.
I get this guy out of here.
that is something to be proud of, Max.
Yeah. Well,
When you
also I
put in
gave
that
up
effort,
everything else.
that too, man. When you just like,
True.
I don't know.
See, the
It
thing
wasn't.
about Max here is he would tell us, right, like, all right, boys, listen, you guys are gonna see me all the time. I'm done with my job for the summer. You guys are gonna see me all the time. My internship's over, and he would take his first day of class, his first step into class, and that would be the last time you see him for 6 months.
It was
Whole semester.
so stressful. Like even when we were on quarantine doing school, I would I had this theory, right? It's called you're the dumbest person in class until you're in a group project. Right? Have you guys experienced this? Where
Think
like
so.
people are like answering questions and you still have no clue what's going on. And you're just
Yeah.
like, what's going on? Like how are you this smart? And then you get into a group project and people are like have just CU'd throughout this whole time or they've fraternity exam banked everything so they have no clue how to do anything and then you have to carry like everybody through the fire which is
Hmm.
school and you're just like this is horrible. Like for my senior project I took on like way too many responsibilities and that's why like during that time in school like I didn't really play any video games. But going back to Sam's point, I'm a hypocrite. I'm not probably. I'm just gonna say some stuff and be wrong. Because I really would like to play video games during school, which I did, Sam. So
I mean,
I played
sure,
Halo my
you did
first
one or
night.
2 days.
Yeah. and then
Yeah,
I
I should
never did
rephrase
again.
that. You'll see him that first day of school, and then like after that first week, he's gone. He's just
Nah.
evaporating into the ether.
Sometimes I came on my phone and I would see what you guys were doing when I was
Yeah,
laying
yeah.
in
You
bed.
would talk to us for like a couple minutes, and then be gone again.
I mean, I haven't. I don't think I've really been in the call since like September.
Yeah, because that's the other thing, right? So then school would be coming to an end. The semester would be coming to an end, right? And Max would be like, "All right, guys, school's coming over. You know, it's about to be over. I don't have to study anymore. You guys are gonna see me all the time." And then he would get on for 2 weeks, and then his internship would start back up, and then you wouldn't see him up until like the last week of summer or so.
Dude, that internship had me down bad.
Mm.
I'm glad I'm not with that internship anymore. But Sam, look, you see me every Saturday when we shoot this show.
True, true.
I do kind of
mean,
feel
Matt-
bad though, like not showing up all the time, but
Well,
Yeah, I kind of felt bad that he didn't show up too, but
oof.
it's whatever, bro. I'll live.
Sam, I'll let you know my mental health has been like through the roof.
Might have
Stress
been
levels are
shot
also
without
through
my
the roof.
maxi.
What's up?
Might have been shot without my max.
Oh, I'm sorry, bud. Did you want me to like show up again?
Nah, come on. You do you, bro. We all gotta grow up and out, right?
Well, I'm coming back. I just got to finish this project. This is a game changer project for everybody. I like to think.
Okay. Yeah, like for everybody that's in us, or
Yeah, like all of us, like all of our friends.
I eagerly await the results of this
Yeah.
project.
It's big. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Do you guys want to go over one more topic, or are we going to wrap her up here?
I mean, what is the next topic? Like big? Is it something we're gonna dive head first into?
There is one topic that would be like kind of short, I think.
Is it related to what we've been talking about?
Not really. No, it has like really nothing related to what we've been talking about.
Do you think it will stimulate interesting conversation?
No.
Okay.
Oh, brutal.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
might be-
if it's not gonna be a hot topic, we might just wanna, we don't wanna pad it
Okay.
out meaninglessly, you know.
Plus, we started late due to my.
Here's one that we could, because we're almost about the same length as
Last time
our
around.
last time around. But here's one we can go into that's like related to kind of the school in general. Were you a fast walker or are you a slow walker on campus?
Depends, honestly, man. If there's nobody around, I would go as slow as I need to go. If there are people around, I'm just gonna match the flow of traffic, you know.
AJ?
Yeah, I move pretty fast, but that's just I think part of where I live and the people who populate the school that I went to. Everybody was just in a rush all the time. I
Actually,
definitely
speaking of your campus, did you walk to campus from your house that I saw?
that one no. The one you saw no.
Because I never actually saw the campus you went to.
No, I drove. It was like a quick little, 5-minute drive. And I didn't have the bike because I loaned my bike out to my good friend who was an exchange student,
Uh-huh.
and he left it outside. Like, I think I loaned it to him for like a winter or a summer. It was like for a while,
Oof.
and he left it outside
Oof.
in the elements for a while, and I got it back, and the thing was like just so destroyed. And I
Oh,
said, I said to him, I said, thanks, dude, and it was just unusable at that point.
You just
And I never
scrap it.
said anything to him either because I'm not sure he used it that much. He actually probably might have forgot about it. Yeah, that was down bad. I actually liked biking around too, and I never got a
Dude,
replacement.
biking around campus is awesome because you're a pedestrian and a vehicle whenever you need to.
True.
Sam, did you ever bike around campus?
I was never really up on main campus.
But like, I mean,
The only
like,
times
when
I
you
went up.
to the other schools, did you ever?
Oh no, this cause I never lived on campus. I always lived off campus,
Okay.
like hours away, or not really hours away, but like over a reasonable biking distance.
Yeah.
The one place that I lived before the one you saw, Max, it was like right across the street, so I walked.
Oh, so you just walked.
Yeah, it was
See,
solid.
I was never like, even when I commuted to campus, I didn't have the parking pass to get close enough to campus where I could walk and still be on time. Like, it would be like a 30-minute walk. So like I would always have my bike like in the car. And I
That's the
had
way to do it.
like my first 2 years, I had like this crappy BMX bike that I would just ride around, and which was great because I'm like this massive dude on like a little BMX bike. Um, but the house we lived, my last house, the whole story behind the last house was we found a house near my first house, which was like in the suburbs near the campus, and we loved it. Like it was like perfect, but it was really expensive, and the landlord wanted us to put 2 months down immediately. And he wanted us to move in immediately, and we were like, no, we can't do this. And we needed to have like a butt ton of people to make it affordable. And we found a butt ton of people, and then the landlord like came out with under us and was like, no. And by that time, like if you didn't have a lease signed for the next year, like a week into school, like you weren't getting a house at the university I went to. We found one that was in the trap, like literally in the trap. Like it was by a state park where they would sell drugs, right?
Solid.
And it was down this massive hill, and you had to take like a quick turn, and it was on the north side of campus to get to like the street we were on, and it was like a whole bunch of duplexes. Well, there was this falling apart shed that a fraternity used as like a rave spot, I guess, that we used to park our bikes in. And I swear every day you would put your bike in there and say, please don't collapse on me. Please don't collapse on me. Because it was basically just a roof. There was like no real shed left. Like you could see through the walls and stuff like that. But one time I'm riding home, right? I'm on this crappy little BMX bike. It's squealing at this point, right? I've blown out both the bearings in the actual the
axles,
like cranks. So it squeals every time you ride it, and my brake fell off. And I'm going down this hill, and I can't make the turn, and I go like, it felt like a quarter of a mile into this state park. Because like you could just keep on going down this hill and going down, and I saw the craziest stuff going on within that quarter of a mile. And I was just like, why do I live here? Like, it was such a strange experience because like, you would see like deers, and then you would see drug dealers just hanging out together.
So, yeah, the first off-campus place I lived, nobody had told me this, but this is prior to me moving in, and I didn't really know. This is like right after I joined the fraternity, and right after I joined, they're like, you got to sign this lease, man, if you want to live here. Like, houses are going quick, and I was like, okay, shit, like, I'm feeling pressured. Fine, I'll do it. And then as I moved in, like the guys who were moving out were telling me, yeah, just like a heads up, we got robbed over winter break. Like, yeah, all the windows got broken. People were like living in our house when we weren't here. I was like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, it's cool though. It's cool. We got everything like pretty much sorted out. I was like, what? And then like even before they moved out, this is still like the year before I moved in. The neighbors, the people next to them, there was a double homicide.
Holy smokes! I thought I was living in the trap.
Nobody told me any of this prior to me like signing the lease and getting ready to move there. Luckily, the entire time I was there, it was chill. But the one house next to us was just this like much bigger house.
Yeah.
And it was just empty the entire time because people got murdered. It was nuts. Every time I went outside, I would look at it and be like, bruh.
Dude, somebody died in there.
Yeah, like.
But honestly, if it's an old house, somebody probably already died in there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, and that was the house where I lived in the basement, and it was a prior fraternity. I mean, I was in a fraternity, but it wasn't like a party house. So the guys that were there, a couple of years ago, it belonged to a different fraternity, and it was a party house.
And there was probably just stuff written on the walls.
No, the landlord actually like redid a lot of it, and that's how I ended up living in the garage because the garage got converted into a room. So like it wasn't that bad, but like sometimes we'd find artifacts. Like we found the old fraternities, like basically handbook in the ceiling.
Oh no.
Yeah, we found a lot of weird stuff in that house.
Isn't that like sacrilege to have another fraternity's handbook?
Probably, dude.
Huh.
I don't know.
Huh.
The fraternity life's not as interesting as you think it was, especially in like at my school. It was whatever you think it is. It was just 10 times worse. It was just so watered down
Oh, I was thinking like
compared
worse
to.
in opposite direction.
No, no, it was just weak. Like whenever you see like fraternities and stuff portrayed in media,
Mm-hmm.
they're like just like absolute maniacs, like jumping off the roofs of houses and stuff like that.
Project
I
X,
mean, yeah,
Blue Mountain State like stuff.
yeah, Blue Mountain State type stuff. But yeah, I mean, and we had good times. We had like parties, we had cookouts, we had we did some stuff, but it was always like it was never because we didn't have a fraternity row. Did your school have a fraternity row where all the houses and stuff are in like one area, like one street?
No,
Do you know what I'm talking about?
they were
No?
just like
Okay. Well,
scattered around campus.
all right. So yeah, it was pretty much the same with us, and it made everything very decentralized. And, like there wasn't like roving bands of like sorority sisters and frat brothers like around the neighborhood
We
as
had
portrayed in movies and
we
stuff.
had like party streets, but we didn't have like
Yeah, we didn't
rows.
even have that.
Oh,
No, we didn't
wow.
have that. Yeah, it was pretty weak sauce.
You know,
to be
Sam was
honest.
out here like when I was in Oklahoma. I ran that. I was the kingpin of the party. Me
What
and all
happens
my
in Oklahoma
Oklahomans.
stays in Oklahoma, man.
Are there fraternities in Oklahoma?
Probably, bro. I don't know.
Dude,
Man,
shout
my
out
life-
Buffaloes.
My lifestyle in Oklahoma was that was when I was working at the airport at like 4 in the morning.
Dude, shout out to the airport.
So I was nocturnal. I
You
was
worked
nowhere
the
near
night
this
show.
party when it going on.
Dude, I don't
I
know
was
how
gonna-
you
the
did
best.
that. Worked at 4 o'clock in the morning, then went to school.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that either. Honestly, that was not like a way for a human being to live.
But you made mad cash.
Yeah,
Probably went all to
yeah.
your university.
Yeah, I went to university, went to some like some dental work I had to get done. It was I guess I got the
Oof.
benefits of it, but it wasn't nearly as fun as I wanted it to be. Oh my. And I'll talk about that later, I guess. I didn't even go to like a normal dental program. I told you what kind of dental thing I was doing, right?
No.
So I didn't have insurance, dental insurance, right? Because that's expensive.
Yeah.
And
And we live in the United States of America, where
Yeah.
that's not. Anyway,
so I'm not trying to pay like thousands and thousands of dollars out of pocket for stuff. So there was a guy who recommended me a program up at the dental school up in the area, and he said, dude, they got students who will just operate on you, and they will do it for dirt cheap. So like something that would cost you like $2,000, you can get done for like 200.
Uh-oh.
And the only danger is you've got a student just cutting into your gums or whatever. So
What did you get, your wisdom teeth removed?
no, not yet. I actually still got to do that at some point.
Dude, that's the sickest operation ever.
Yeah.
It is. When I got mine removed, it was awesome.
Why is that?
Oh, we got to save this for next, because I have
Alright.
stories about surgeries that is on the list.
write it down, man. Write it down.
I've already written it down. I got the card next to me. Should we do some closing statements?
Sure,
And
man.
we can pick up our conversation after about surgeries next week.
Sounds good.
I'll star that. Okay, so we'll start with Sam. Sam, what did you learn this week?
What did I learn this week? I learned the value of perseverance in the face of code.
That's a good one. AJ, what did you learn this week?
I learned we've all taken math classes, higher level math classes, that have just completely attacked your soul directly. Just
You're just
utter
demolished it.
destruction. Just completely. Yeah, it's for lack of a better term, well, I won't use that. It's a curse, but it screws with your mind. I'll say that.
I agree.
Maximum, Max, where you at?
What I learned this week is AJ's tripping off these dominoes. Thank you and have a good night.